Amethyst Virgo. I'm here with a video for understanding Aquarius energy. So I'm focusing on the sun, the moon, the rising, Mercury, Mars, and Venus. In this particular video, I'm not focusing on like the outer planets like Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter, Neptune. You know, I'm not really, I feel like I'm missing one, but I'm not focusing on them in this particular video. I may do another one down the road that deals with those placements, those planets in Aquarius. So firstly, I'm doing this. If you have your birth chart, you will definitely be able to, or someone else's birth chart, the time they were born, where they were born, you would know where their placements are. So if you have someone's time of birth, not even time. Let's say you don't have their time. You have their birth date, maybe where they were born. You'll be able to get their placements in general. Like, is there Mars in Scorpio? Is there Mars in Aquarius? Is there Venus in Aquarius? You get that general one because throughout the day that wouldn't change necessarily. Now it gets tricky because the moon can change really frequently. So that's where the moon and rising can be wrong if you don't have someone's exact time of birth. So I just want to put that out there. This is just understanding Aquarius energy in general. So feel free to just listen in, even if, your Mars is not in Aquarius, but you are in Aquarius. You just want to know more about how the energy works out. All right. So Sun in Aquarius. Aquarius is traditionally ruled by, it has this energy of Saturn and Uranus. Okay. Now, those are two planets that seem very different. So how does that actually work out in the sun, the Aquarius sun person? So one, Uranus is not afraid to be different. So this Aquarius sun person is someone who stands out as being different. In some cases, they can come across as socially awkward in some moments. I feel like not socially awkward on purpose, but they just don't mind being different. They don't mind standing apart. They don't really feel the need to be like everyone else. This could lead to sometimes being ostracized, especially in younger life. If feeling that they're always different is very common in many Aquariuses. As far as Saturn is a very disciplined parental type of planet. It teaches you lessons. It doesn't really care about your joy. It cares about, this is what you need to get. You need to learn this lesson. You're going to go through a cycle. It's very disciplined. It's a very intentional planet, but it also doesn't give you deadlines or times. Saturn is just there, and it's like, hey, you're going to go through this for your period of time, and you're going to learn something out of this, okay? So with that said, Saturn's serious. Some Aquariuses can also come across as very serious at times, but it can be kind of a contradiction because, not a contradiction, but it's a contrast because they can be very serious or come off that way, especially the risings. They can come off serious, but they also have like a goofy side. But like Virgo, you probably have to know them or tap into them a little bit more to get that goofy side. If that's what if you're getting to know an Aquarius sun person, they can be very sarcastic and in a way witty. But I feel like their wit isn't as friendly as Virgo. Sometimes I see some similarities between Virgo and Aquarius a little bit, but I feel like Aquarius can sometimes come off as very sarcastic, and sometimes that works for some people, and sometimes it doesn't work with other people who need a little bit more of a warmer type of sense of humor. Like Aquarius' sense of humor is completely different, I would say. Not completely, but very different from Leo, their opposite sign. Where Leo is like joyful, boisterous, loud humor. Aquarius is just going to make some witty comments. That's how they get their humor across. They can do a lot last minute. Okay, remember, Saturn doesn't care about deadlines. Okay, Saturn is there to teach you lessons. Saturn can last a long time. Saturn is not going to move at your time, your timing. And Uranus is quirky, and it will do what it wants because it feels, emboldened to do that. So Aquarius is not, so when I made the connection between Virgo and Aquarius, there's a difference there. This is not a video about comparing them, but sometimes I see some similarities. Virgo is very timely. Aquarius is not controlled by those time limits. So sometimes Aquarius will do things at the last minute. They're an air sign, so they can do that. But it doesn't always work for other people, but it works for them because they can get things done very effectively, very efficiently. They're a quick thinker. Okay, they're a very quick thinker. They're air, so they can be very logical, though, at times. Very logical, not emotionally driven. Now, we talk about the moon in Aquarius. I know this placement very well. I have a lot of people in my life who are moon in Aquarius people. Moon is your feelings, your thoughts. This is not the easiest placement. Okay, it is not an easy placement because Aquarius is like Saturn. Saturn can be cold or distant, or Saturn's not concerned with feelings, and the moon is concerned with feelings. So when you match if someone with the moon in Aquarius, doesn't mean they're cold and distant. It's a very logical person. This is a person who will, you know, when you tell them you have a problem, they want to figure it out. And that could be very frustrating to people who like to vent emotionally. You know, you like to vent, you want somebody to cry with you. That's not Moon and Aquarius. They're going to give you a solution. They're going to say, okay, kind of like Moon and Virgo could do the same thing, but I think Moon and Virgo might have a little bit more of a compassionate response, because Virgo is also the sign of service and help and, you know, and things like that. So but your Moon and Aquarius person is a very logical thinker. They might care about you, but they're probably not going to cry over what's going on with you. All right. Another thing, they do things as a sense of duty. However, they can be loyal. Okay. The Moon and Aquarius person, you know, they can be very loyal because they feel a sense of duty. It's not necessarily, and I'm not saying these people don't feel love. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying the Moon in Aquarius just has a different way of filtering out feelings. Before they actually act emotionally, they're going to consider things and they're going to think about these things, and that's how they're going to kind of deal with how their emotions are. It's not feeling first, it's thinking first, and then they think about how they want to feel. It's interesting. Where some signs feel and then they have to think about how they feel. It's the opposite. They think Moon and Aquarius is very dedicated to how things should be, because they're so logical. Even if they're not overly emotional, that's why they can be there for you, because they know how things should be. Whether they're crying on your shoulder, they're letting you cry on your shoulder or not, whether they're, you know, coddling you, they know how love should be. They know how a parent should act to a child. They know how a relationship should be. So they are going to be consistent in that way. I feel like Moon and Aquarius can be a little bit more consistent than Sun and Aquarius in some ways. One thing I've noticed about Moon and Aquarius, okay, they can be so logical when you come to them with a problem that you assume that they're just a logical person. However, you have to understand, when you come to Moon and Aquarius with a problem you have with them, I've seen this so many times. Sorry if you're a Moon and Aquarius person, it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply. I've seen so many times that they have a very hard time accepting things they've done to you. So like, you're like, hey, you know, I'm noticing that, you know, there's a pattern, you keep doing this, or hey, a couple years ago you did this to me, you really hurt my feelings. They want to justify why they did what they did. It is very hard, in my opinion, in my experience, for Moon and Aquarius people to actually try to empathize with you when you're like, when the problem has something to do with them. Like if you're, you know, not even like you're trying to be confrontation, you're just telling them like some criticism about themselves. I feel like a lot of them don't want to deal with their feelings. Like they don't want to deal with that stuff. So just watch out for that if you're dealing with a Moon and Aquarius person. And if you are Moon and Aquarius, fix that. All right. Rising. Aquarius risings, again, I think you'll notice them because these are the people that aren't afraid to be alone, or they can be alone a lot because they're not like everyone else. Okay? They don't really feel the need to be like everyone else, and sometimes for some of them it's hard to fit in with everyone else. And as they get older as adults, that's easier to navigate. As a child, it's very hard to be different, you know, and you know, and try to deal with peers and things like that. They're very intellectual. This is the person, these risings, who will always have the answer to something. And unlike the sun knows what it is and it wants to exude that energy. The rising, you're not always aware of your rising because that's more your persona to other people. You know, it's your reputation. So your Aquarius rising people are kind of, might come off as know-it-all sometimes, but they're really not trying to do it like the sun is. Like the risings are just there to be like, actually, insert whatever it is that they think you don't know. Aquarius risings are also, as I forgot to mention with the sun, in general, these are people who care about humanity. Now, here's the thing. They don't, and this sign also deals with friendship. Here's what you have to understand. Aquarius likes to deal with friendship on the waves of sharing information. Aquarius does not deal with friendship like a Libra does, another air sign. Libra is about the socialization and relationships. Aquarius is about having connections, because they do want to help and they do want to, you know, solve the world's problems, and they care about that stuff on a grand level. Remember Saturn. Saturn's like lessons, and let's you know, learn how they take all this harshness, and there should be an outcome after that. Saturn rules Capricorn as well. Okay, Uranus is about shaking things up. So these people care about changing things. Okay, so your rising people are the ones with the new ideas, with the revolutionary idea. But we've been doing it like this for 20 years. Why don't we do it like this? All right, your Mercury person, that's in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. That means it's a really good match. Okay, because Mercury deals with the mind, and Aquarius is very logical. Aquarius is an air sign. Air signs deal with the intellect. So Mercury deals with the mind, and you know, Aquarius is intellectual because they categorize things in their head, okay? Aquarius is good at learning. They're good at it. It comes easy to them. Very easy. Now, what I've noticed, especially when people are younger or children with this, or even Aquarius children, but people in general, Mercury and Aquarius is like, sometimes they can take their learning for granted. They know they're smart. They know things come easy to them, okay? But sometimes it's just, they take it for granted. You still have to put the work in, or you still got to study, or you still got to, do your project. I don't know, I'm just saying, like, Mercury and Aquarius works really well though with ideas. They're very quick, and they're very good at understanding information and being able to either repeat that information or take that information and share it with other people. It's just that there's not a lot of structure with Mercury and Aquarius, or Aquarius does not necessarily have structure. Saturn does like structure. Saturn can sometimes like something done in a certain way. So it's weird, and astrology can be so like, it's like you think one thing's one way and it circles back. Because here's the thing, Aquarius can have that side, as I said before, it's very quirky, unexpected. Saturn teaches you lessons but takes a long time, okay? But at the same time, some Aquariuses, because they're so logical, they are good with procedures. So they might not rush to do something, but they know how something should be done, okay? Venus in Aquarius. Now, Venus is the planet of love, and it's about your relationships and your partnerships with people and what you value. Okay, now when Venus is in Aquarius, it is not the most loving place. Does not mean this person can't love. Anybody can love. It means outwardly this is not a person into PDA, a person that's going to be touching you all the time necessarily, or a person who's going to be writing you love poems. Probably just not going to do that. Now they could if they're like into writing, but for the most part, Venus in Aquarius is kind of, again, like I said, Aquarius is not overly emotional. They do feel, everybody feels, but they do things out of sense of duty. They have a logical understanding, like, I'm in a relationship with you, I should be doing this for you. Like, I understand that. They can come across as detached sometimes because they like their freedom. There are certain signs that really like their freedom. You try too much to lock them in, they're going to want to fly. Who is that? That's Aquarius can like their freedom. Sagittarius loves their freedom. Gemini loves their freedom. Let me see. Libra to a certain extent as well. Basically all the air signs like their freedom, and Sagittarius likes their freedom. Aries does as well, but Aries in love, Venus in Aries is very passionate. Like, they're very like, they have to let it be known. Like, they have to feel important. So Venus and Aries is a little bit different. But with them, you can't. They're gonna want freedom to do what they love to do. Aquariuses can have a lot of different interests. Remember I said, like, they're humanitarians. They usually are people that have hobbies outside of work, outside of home. They're gonna want to be a part of a group, or doing community service, or doing something that betters something in the society. All right, so it's not that you're not a priority. It's just they're very logical about love, and they don't want to feel like they're locked in. Also, Aquarius, Uranus makes people very susceptible to acceptance. A Venus in Aquarius, like Venus in Sagittarius, can often be more open to like dating people outside their own group. So whether that's racial, ethnic, age group, whatever the case is, Venus in Aquarius is a little bit open-minded. They understand people's differences. They understand it. They're not, also because they're ruled by Saturn as well. It's more, I would say Venus in Capricorn is more into like older people, like older, related to someone older than them. Venus in Aquarius could do. Venus in Aquarius is more open-minded. They're not locked in. They will accept people for who they are. This is not really a partner who's going to try to change you probably too much. Yeah, and they might even intentionally date someone who's outside of their own group, because to show how tolerant they are sometimes. Okay, Mars in Aquarius. So Mars is the planet of dominance, of intimacy. Sometimes it can be related to that. Mars is about aggression and action. How do you do things? How do you dominate? Do you dominate? Depends on your sign. Now, Mars in Aquarius, it's where action meets air. So action meets a sign that's really intellectual. This is a good placement. It's actually a good placement, believe it or not, because even though air is about the mind, this is a person who's very intentional. And remember, they care about how things are done. They have new ideas. They're innovative. I mean, we're in 2018. New things are constantly being introduced. Things are evolving. This is a great placement for, like, you know, today's times of, you know, new things all the time. We're trying to turn, you know, on, you know, social media, something new going on. It's a great place for being good at inventions. It's a good place for people who actually change the course of history. You know, Aquarius wants to change the way people are treated. They're humanitarians. Mars is about action. It's a good placement for that as well. They make smart decisions and they're strategic, much like Mars and Scorpio. Okay, but remember, Mars and Scorpio is going to do more about how they feel about things, right? Mars in Aquarius is logical, and they're going to pick apart every piece to try to figure it out. Only problem with this placement can be stagnation. Okay, you know, Saturn isn't fast, and Uranus doesn't move that much. Like, so Uranus is unpredictable. So you want to be careful if you have a lot of displacement and, you know, you have these great ideas and you want to shake things up. You also have to have some stability, because sometimes you're just, you know, people are waiting for you to do something. You have these great ideas, but things can pass you by. Okay, it's very similar, I said, to Mars and Taurus, where, you know, while you're waiting, they're getting something done over here. You know, so make sure that your ideas, you know, are not just going by the wayside. Make sure that you are, you know, taking all those things that you understand, taking your brilliant ideas, taking your mind, and actually, you know, lending them to getting things done. All right, so if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you did not watch my other videos, understanding the energy of the signs, please take a look. It's in a playlist. Thank you for watching.